Hi there, I'm Sister Lisa. Sometimes people just call me Sis or Lisa. Doesn't really matter to me what you call me, but I often sign my name Sister Lisa, so now you know who I am in case you have never seen my face before. I've had some requests from some different viewers and readers about using a mortar and pestle. And I just wanted to take a couple of minutes just to share a few different tips that I use when I'm working with my mortar and pestle. And I have a collection of different kinds, and I'm going to go through a few of them with you and just share some ideas and insights on how I use them in my spiritual practice. The first thing to think about really is the mortar and pestle is the perfect symbol for the balance between feminine and masculine. I don't really need to give you too many details. Feminine, masculine, right? Anyway, so they work really well together when you're working with herbs and resins to create incense or any other kind of element that you want to anoint your candles with, or place in water for any kind of meditative scrying that you might do with the herbs floating in the water. There's all kinds of different ways that you can use the elements after you've worked them in the mortar and pestle. So this one is just a wood one. And what I like to use this one for is mixing powders together. So if I have sandalwood powder or Palo Santo powder, white sage powder, any of the powders, they've already been ground up before in one of my other tools, then I can mix them together really easily with one of these. So that's what I would use one of those for. The next thing is you might see these often in places like Home Goods, TJ Maxx, and it's often called onyx. It's not onyx, actually, it's calcite, but we call it onyx. It's just a trade name for it. I like to use this one when I'm blending together oils with other types of resins and herbs together, because it has a really nice smooth finish inside. It's not going to absorb the oils like a wood would, you know what I mean? So that's what I like to use that one for. Then I have the kind that you can get at Costco sometimes in the beginning of summer. I don't know if they have them anymore, but you can probably find it on Amazon, but the shipping is going to be crazy if you order it online, unless you have Amazon Prime, if you can find it as a Prime item. But it's one of these hefty stone mortar and pestles. And I really like to use this one if I'm grinding a lot of things together, because it's so hefty and sturdy, and it's like rough inside. So it's really great to grind things down that way. Now, some people like to put their herbs in like a food processor or a coffee grinder, and that's perfectly okay to do, but I personally like to use my hands and my arms when I'm working with my elements. I just find it more satisfying that way. And then what I do when I'm done working with this, and I've brushed out all the elements that I have inside, I keep a little jar of ground up rice, and this is just raw, just that dry white rice. And this is what I used when I first seasoned this mortar and pestle. So what you do is you put the rice in there and grind it down really fine, and that gets all that excess stone off of it, so that it won't get in your food and in your little mixtures that you're doing. And then whatever's left over in that bowl after it's done, it just goes right back in this jar. So if I created something that had dried rose petals in it, and I got out as much of the rose petals as I could after I was done mixing and blending, then whatever's left in there, it ends up coming back in with the rice. And so what I have is this really beautiful aroma in this ground up rice, and I just use it again and again whenever I need to clean out that mortar and pestle. I pour it all back in there, grind it all up, and then brush it all out. And then what you can do with this mixture is you can use it as a protection spell around your house. If you're feeling that there's negative energy coming, you can go around the perimeter of your house with it, and just really fine sprinkles all the way around. And make sure that that rice is ground up really well, though, because you don't want the birds to eat it and get sick from that. So that's just my little tip about that tool right there. And then the other one, which is a lot heavier, and I got this off of you know, on Facebook, you can go on there. There's like a little shop icon now, and you can click that and it'll show you things that people are selling that are in your area. And I happened to find a cast iron mortar and pestle. And this thing is so hefty, I can't pick both pieces up at the same time while I'm sitting down. But here's the pestle piece. And then this is the mortar. It's so, so hefty. But you know what I like to use this for is for grinding down resin. Because sometimes the resin pieces are really hard. And it doesn't take any really amount of strength. You just set that thing in there and the weight of it just crushes it so easily. So it takes all of the pressure off your arms to, you just rest it down in there and just kind of grind it like this, and it just powders it down really nicely. Another thing that I like to use this for is if I want to use crystal gemstone chipstone pieces to anoint my candles or any other kind of uses that I would use that for, you can take those little chipstones and put those in a hefty mortar and pestle like this, and then it easily crushes them down into a finer crystal powder, which makes a really nice little glittery like sparkle in your candles. And, you know, instead of using glitter, you can use your gemstones. But I would only recommend that you do that with crystal chipstones. They're already small as it is. I wouldn't take a big like rose quartz and just start smashing it up. That's just not something that I would do unless I had like an abundance of it on my property, maybe. But anyway, so that's what I like to use that one for as well. And that's about all I have to share with you today about mortar and pestle. So now I would like to ask you, what do you use yours for? How do you use yours? Is there any tips that you would like to share with us? I'd love to hear them. Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. Have a great day.